Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishna Yevamos, Parak Dalet, chapter 4. We are at the end of Mishnah 7. It's literally the last line of Mishnah 7. And it reads like this. We're going to read it, and then we'll explain it with charts. Mutar Adam b'kraivas tsaras chalutzasai. A man is permitted in the relative of the co-wife of the woman that he did chalitza for. V'aser, but he is forbidden, b'tsaras kareivas chalutzasai. He is forbidden in the co-wife of the relative of the woman that he did chalitza on. Get it? Good. We can move on. All right. Take a look now at the chart that I gave you. Okay? Take a look at this chart. Okay. The chart starts off on the top, above the line. Reuven and Shimon are brothers. Okay? Now, Shimon had two wives. Those two wives were not sisters. That's why their names are Miriam and Rachel, right? They are not sisters. He has two wives, right?
Mistake.
He has two wives. Okay? All right, ladies. Okay, good.
You can't even take care of one. You need two wives.
Okay. Now, so now he's got two wives. They're not sisters, Miriam and Rachel. Rachel has a sister Leah, right? For Shteitzach, right? She has a sister Leah. So that's the start off. That's the start of the case. That's how things begin. The bottom is where things begin to change. Why? Because Shimon died. And Shimon died without children. That's now the bottom. No more Shimon there, right? No more Shimon on the bottom. So now Shimon has two wives that Reuven could, on any one of them, do Yibam or Chalitza. And in this case, Reuven did Chalitza on Miriam. Okay, he did Chalitza on Miriam. Miriam, who was not the sister of Leah. Okay, Rachel is the sister of Leah. Now, but he didn't include Chalitza on Rachel. He did Chalitza on Miriam. Now, once he does Chalitza on Miriam, right, he cannot marry Rachel anymore. That's a regular halacha. If a man has two wives, and you do Yibam or Chalitza on one of the wives, the other wife becomes usher, becomes forbidden to you. So at the end of the day, Reuven is not allowed to marry Rachel. But Rachel has a sister Leah, right? Rachel has a sister Leah. Reuven is allowed to marry Leah on the bottom, because Leah is the sister of the co-wife of the woman that he did Chalitza on. So since he never did Chalitza on Rachel, he never did Chalitza on Leah's sister, Rachel, so therefore, Reuben can marry Leah. That's the first part of the Mishnah. We said, Mutar Adam, the Mishnah reads, Mutar Adam, a person is permitted, B'kraivas tsaras chalutzasai, in the relative of the co-wife of his chalutza. The chalutza in our case was Miriam. Rachel is usher because she's anyway usher because of the fact that, like I said before, if by two wives, if one of the wives has Yibam or Chalitza done to her, Rachel is not the other co-wife can't get married to that person. Now, but the relative Leah, the relative of the co-wife of the Chalutza, there's no problem with her. And therefore, Reuven can marry her. That's the first case of the Mishnah. All right. Now, let me give you another chart for the next part of the Mishnah. The game plan, Laser. Okay. It looks scarier than it is, but it's not so scary.
It looks like a football play.
Okay, here we go. Now, the next case is like this. Here's the setup on the top line. Reuven and Shimon. Okay? Guess what? They're brothers, right? Reuven and Shimon are brothers. I didn't put their brothers. I should have written in brothers, but I didn't. Reuven and Shimon are brothers. Okay? Now, Reuven, Shimon, and Levi are brothers. We got three boxes on top, right? All three are brothers. Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Shimon is married to a woman, Rachel. Levi is married to her sister, Leah. So Shimon and Levi are brothers who are married to two sisters, or marry each one to a sister. And Levi has another wife, Miriam. Okay? So Levi has 2 wives. Shimon has 1 wife. Reuben has no wives. And Shimon and Levi are married to sisters. Okay? That's the case. That's how we go along the line. You've got Reuben, a brother. Shimon, a brother. He's married to Rachel. Then you have Levi, who's a brother, married to Leah, the sister of Rachel, and married to another woman named Miriam. All right. Line number 2, next line. Shimon dies. Okay? So now his wife, Rachel, falls to Yibam. She could fall to Reuben, she could fall to Levi, but assuming that Reuben is the oldest, okay, and Levi didn't want to, let's say, do Yibam. So what happened is that Reuben did chalitza on Rachel. Okay? Reuben did chalitza on Rachel. All right. Now, by doing chalitza on Rachel, Leah is now the sister of the woman he did chalitza on, right? That's what Leah is now, the sister of the woman he did chalitza on. Line number 3, Levi dies. Okay? So his 2 wives, Leah and Miriam, are now falling to Yibam to Reuben. Right? Now, Reuben can't marry Leah because Leah is the sister of the woman he did chalitza on. Reuben can neither marry do Yibam on Miriam because she's the co-wife of the relative of his chalutza, treating her similar to a tsaras erva, treating her similar to the co-wife of an erva. So therefore, that's the last part of the Mishnah. When the Mishnah reads that he's usher in the tzara of the relative of his chalutza, that's exactly what happens here on the bottom line. You're having a situation where Leah, who is the sister of his chalutza, is now falling to him for Yibam through another brother. So Rachel was the one that Reuben did chalitza on. I run on the bottom there under Rachel chalutza. That means she's the woman who had chalitza done on her. Her sister is Leah. She's usher to Reuben because it's the sister of the woman he did chalitza on, which is considered like the sister of a person he was married to. And now Miriam, who was the co-wife of Leah by Levi, who died now, Miriam is going to be forbidden because she is the co-wife of she's the co-wife of the relative of his chalutza, and therefore she's forbidden. So now at the end of the day here, okay, in this final case, what happens to Leah and Miriam? I mean, they just go free? What happens to them? The answer is they don't go free, because the whole prohibition of a relative to a chalutza is only midrabanan, it's only rabbinic. So therefore, at the end of the day, you got to give chalitza. You'll give chalitza to either Leah or to Miriam, because both women in their rights, according to Torah law, both women are falling to him for Yibam. It's just that the Rabbanan say he cannot perform Yibam, he's not allowed to marry them, and therefore he goes ahead and he does chalitza. But he's a chalitza to whatever one he wants. You have 2 women from one husband falling for Yibam, you do a chalitza on one, the other one goes free. So that is this chart and this explanation of the second case of the Mishnah. All right, let's go to the Chofetz Chaim now. All right. Ve'ata nachzil yonenu hanal mashkasav b'sif beis afilu shmias lashon hara hu asar Torah hainu leilach v'lishmaya. Going back to the prohibition of listening to lashon hara, what is not permitted to go and listen? Avol miyasher b'chaburas anoshim sheniskapsu li'inyan ma. He is a part of a group of people that gather together for a permissible cause. Okay, they came together at the Kiddush table. And they started speaking things you're not supposed to speak about. They started speaking lashon hara. So now, what he really should be doing is telling them, you got to stop. That's teichacha. That's the mitzvah of rebuke, of stopping a person from sinning. But he realizes it's not going to work. So what does he do? Tali bazeh says Chofetz Chaim. It depends on the following. If he can walk away, or stick his fingers in his ears so as not to hear it. Mitzvah rabbahu. He's doing a big mitzvah. As our sage is saying ksubis, as the Gemara says that. But if, let's say, a situation where he can't get away, he's not going to be able to get away, to leave them and not make any problems. And now, okay, you can't leave, so stick your finger in your ears. He's not going to be able to handle it. He's not going to be able to do it. They're going to make fun of him. And therefore, he's not going to do it. At least what you have to do then is to, to exhort yourself, and to stand strong in this he calls it this time of trouble. And to fight the war of Hashem with his inclination. Should at least not stumble on the Torah's prohibition of hearing and accepting Lashon Hara. Meaning, the bottom line is, what are you going to do? You're going to hear it. But if you go ahead and you basically but you do something to stand up against what you're hearing, not because you're saying anything to them, but for yourself. You're standing up for yourself against what you're hearing, you'll avoid the prohibition of Lashon Hara, of hearing Lashon Hara. You got to do three things. Number one, you have to accept upon yourself you're not going to believe what you hear. Number two, you shouldn't be happy with it. It shouldn't be like, well, once I'm here, I might as well enjoy myself and listen to some interesting news. No, you should be basically saying to yourself, this is very uncomfortable. You're not happy with it. And don't do anything. Don't make any kind of movement or expression that shows that you agree with it. You hear the news and you go, and like all of a sudden you shake your head. No, that's not good. That's not good. There, just sit there, he says, like a stone. Sit there like a stone. Don't show any reaction to it. Now let's say you show them a sour face. In the way, that means you're showing that you're not in agreement with what they're saying. That would be even better to do. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
And a Shavua Tov, Get
Thank you, Rabbi.